Welcome, everybody, to episode 36 of Sports Stuff Hub Live. Today is Tuesday, May 25th. This year is damn near half over. I'm going to move my mic a little bit here. I looked at the calendar today and about shat myself, realizing that it's the end of May already. And we are days away from June 1st. We are weeks away from the kids getting out of school. My son is about to wrap up his sophomore year in high school. We are almost done with May of 2021. This is insane. This year has just flown by. Last year, in my opinion, flew by. And it's the NBA playoffs right now. We are full swing into baseball. All-Star break is, a month and a half? Basketball playoffs just started. The NFL draft has already happened. And we're 2.5 months away from the NFL season. Now that's the time I'm looking forward to. Good evening, Mr. Miller. Glad to see you in here, sir. So, with 2021 almost halfway through, we are at a point where we're going to start seeing a massive ramp up of baseball products for the 21 season hitting the market. We're already full swing into the baseball products, the basketball products. And we're going to start seeing some of the high-end stuff coming out here fairly soon. We have things like Noir, Impeccable, both coming out in June, at least the current dates. We have National Treasures coming out in July. We have NFL products for the new 21 draft class dropping already. We've already seen Score. And in terms of licensed product, we've seen Score. Legacy Football comes out tomorrow, and that I am excited for because Trey Lance has RPAs in his NDS uniform. So these are the first RPAs of a licensed variety, but in his green and gold North Dakota State colors, and I'm here for it. I today got my incoming class auto of Trey Lance that I ordered from the Panini website, numbered out of 99. Last week's break night saw a monster Trey Lance come out of Onyx Vintage Football, numbered out of 12. I acquired that. And I've gotten a few of the Score and a few of the Sage base rookies. And now Legacy comes out tomorrow. And we have 2 breaks tomorrow night that include Legacy Football in them. We have a PYT 3-box, and then we have a random team 2-box and 3 boxes of Onyx Vintage. So it's a 5-box mixer. There could be some monsters in that. And I am going to set a bounty on the Legacy PYT break. I'm just not going to tell anybody what it is until it's showtime. But there will be a bounty on Legacy. I assure you that. I will be putting a bounty. And no, I'm not going to say anything else. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow night is going to be off the hook. We have Court Kings, we have Legacy, we have Fantasy Sports Break, Basketball Edition, we have Onyx Vintage Football, all piled into one night. It is going to be crazy. I have a gut feeling that Legacy Football is going to go absolutely nuclear tomorrow night. And I believe and I know that there is going to be an absolute banger coming out of Fantasy Sports Break tomorrow night. Absolute banger. I just don't see anything that I don't see any reason why there wouldn't. I mean, just the way we've been going for the last number of months, or excuse me, the last number of weeks, and the potential that's in this, we're gonna hit something big. So, I'm excited. I am excited. I'm looking down at my screen and I'm seeing some flashing. Hopefully that's not doing that on your guys' end too. I know YouTube was having a little bit of struggle with broadcasting earlier today. Hopefully that is mostly cleared up. So a few things that we do have coming up. As I mentioned, we have Legacy Football and Court Kings dropping tomorrow. Both will be available on the Panini website as well. Prices have been listed, I believe. I saw Court Kings was a hair over $300 and Legacy was just a hair over $200, if I recall correctly, which is about what I expected them to be because the online retailers had Court Kings at, I think, $350, $400-ish, and Legacy around $250. So it's kind of what I expected them to be on the Panini website. And then we also have Contenders Draft Football. I believe that comes out Friday. I'll tell you in a second. I know we have a product that actually comes out Friday. I was a little shocked to see a Friday release because we haven't been seeing many of those lately. But yeah, Contenders Draft Picks Collegiate Football comes out this Friday. So that's going to be releasing this week too. So the week is sitting pretty, I guess. So the other thing that I do have showing up is the Tristar autographed jerseys. These are the Series 2, the Game Day Greats, and there is a Tom Brady in this product. And I want to say it's a Michigan. Yeah, it's a Michigan autograph jersey. So there is Trevor Lawrence, there is Justin Fields, Mahomes, Etienne, Gronk in a Bucks jersey by the looks of it. Staubach, Marino, Calvin Johnson, Michael Irvin, Justin Jefferson. There is a lot of names in Series 2. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to, because I already have the mini helmets, I'm going to probably run a mixer, so to speak, of some Tristar. I'll probably do like a 2 jersey, 2 mini helmet type of break. I won't do it by team. I'll probably just do like a draft. I might even do, I have enough coming of jerseys where I could do 5 and 5 and we could do a 10-spot draft. It'd get a little expensive, but we can make it work. David, yes, my plan is to do a Contenders draft break next week. So yes, that is my intention. I had to shift some stuff around. Obviously, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago on the show. The rewards break for the month of May had to change, partly because I lost my direct allocation on Impeccable Basketball, but also they moved Impeccable Basketball back to the middle of June. So even if I had product coming, we wouldn't be able to break it in time for the rewards break. So that being said, I don't really have any other products that we could have done a break with, because I didn't plan on looking for Flawless, because I wasn't going to do Flawless originally. I was aiming for Impeccable. And now that Impeccable is off the table for this month, I have decided to go with National Treasures Baseball. So it'll be a one box break of National Treasures Baseball, and I think I had it priced to be at around like $28 or $30 a spot. I have to go back and do my math and find out what it costs to pick up. But so that'll be our one of our rewards breaks for the month of May. I still have to go through after tomorrow and get everybody dialed in as to who qualified for this month. Which I believe we had less people so far that qualified for this month than we did in June. In April. So we may end up allowing everybody to buy 2 spots in the NT baseball break, but we'll see. Who knows? Tomorrow could go absolutely off the rails, and we have 20 new people. So tomorrow night, if you haven't seen the website yet, break night for this week, we have Legacy Football PYT 3-box. We have a 2-box PYT of the new Court Kings basketball. We have a 5-box mixer random team, which includes 3 Onyx Vintage and 2 Legacy Football. And then we also have a random team of Fantasy Sports Break basketball Series 4, which we are going to do a preview rip of tonight. We're going to do a 1-box preview rip and just kind of dive into it, because we haven't ripped one of these on the show in a while. I think the last time we ripped one of these on the show was January. So we're going to take a look at one of those tonight. Anything else hobby-wise? We wrapped up a very big show this last weekend in Auburn. Multi-day Twin Oaks Cards and Collectibles show, 2 days. It was a Saturday-Sunday show at the Auburn Outlet Mall. It was a bit slower than the previous shows, and a lot of that had to do with there was apparently 2 big card shows elsewhere in the country that a lot of buyers were at. There was one of the bigger ones was Dallas, and I know a lot of people that from this area alone that were at that show. So with more shows ramping back up around the country, it's probably going to steal away some of the buyers here and there from this region and other regions as well for the card shows. I have been very clear with other locals, vendors, collectors alike, as well as the gentleman that runs the Twin Oaks Card Show, that I have zero intention of going to any of the larger national shows or the larger regional shows to set up as a vendor, or even just go and as a customer if it conflicts with a local show. My goal over the next period of time is to help build a bigger show presence in this market, and investing my time into this market is very important to me. So I will be making sure that I'm at the local shows here between Auburn and Everett and Portland. I've already asked, because I am going to the National this year. It's my first time going to a National. And I've already given Ron, the gentleman who runs the Twin Oaks Cards Show, I gave him the dates, and he's going to try to do everything he can to make sure that there is not a conflict for any other show during that time. And he's been doing this for 34 years. And he's even said, I'm aware of how bad the national weekend is in this area. He tries not to set it up, but sometimes he can't avoid it. Sometimes it's the only weekend available for the card show, but he's going to try to avoid it because it is a ghost town during the national. The last time I set up during the week of a national was 2017, I believe. And I don't believe I've ever been to a more dead card show ever. It was 25, 30 tables that normally used to be at the time, anyways. Aside from when the national was going on, it used to be 40 to 45 tables minimum, and then we'd get a handful of customers in there, and there was no customers. I mean, it was dead. I want to say that my sales for the day was like $40, and it wasn't like I had stuff overpriced and whatnot. I mean, anybody that's gone and seen my table sees, I've got really good stuff, and I try to be very reasonable on the pricing. But there was just nobody there buying, and so I was just like, okay, you know what? Not gonna do one of these shows during when it's competing against the national. It's just no point to it. And I did learn over this past weekend too. It's very tough competing against even the Dallas Card Show. I knew a few people that flew back Saturday night and came to the show Sunday, and Sunday turned out to be pretty solid. It was slow overall, but I mean, all it takes sometimes at a card show when you're a vendor is one sale can make or break your day, and sometimes you can pull that off in the last hour. That's happened to me on numerous shows where I literally just have people come by and they're buying dollar bin and $2 bin type cards, and all day long that's all you're getting, and you're sitting at $200 at 2 o'clock, and all of a sudden 2-3 people come up to the table after 3 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you're at $4,000 in sales for the day, and you're kind of like, whoa, okay, all right. And that's happened, I mean, just recently at the Portland show. I could have literally skipped the entirety of the show up until about 1:30. The show ends at 3. And, I mean, we had some sales, but, yeah, after 1:30, it was 90% of the sales that I had. And I mean, dollar-wise. And it was just like, wow, okay. Now, granted, if you weren't there the entire time, you'd have no clue, and so it's like, ugh. But sometimes the guys that show up at the last minute are the guys that are, and guys or gals that are dropping a fair amount of money on their on the show, and so that's happened to me a few times, and it's quite interesting when stuff like that happens, when you literally spend all day and barely anybody comes up to the table, or a lot of people just buy dollar bin cards, and then all of a sudden somebody walks up to the table after 2 o'clock and they want to buy a $1,000 card from you. So I know one card in particular that was a big talk in the Seattle market that I had. My Russell Wilson Gold Kaboom, numbered out of 10. PSA Gem Mint 10, Pop 1, is no longer in my possession. It was a bittersweet day. It's got a great home, though. I know the guy, and we've done some deals in the past, and he has been eyeing that card for a number of months now, and we worked a partial trade, partial buyout on it, and we were both happy with the deal. And yeah, it was fun doing the deal, finding out something that worked for both of us. And that card was definitely a talking point at the table, because I can't count how many people walked past the table and that one card caught their eye and stopped them dead in their tracks. And I know that card actually got me a few sales along the way as well, because all of a sudden then they start looking at what else is in the or what else is on the table. But like I said, it wasn't a PC card for me. It was a beautiful card. It was probably one of the coolest cards I've ever pulled. But I'm glad it went to a guy who literally called it exactly what I've been calling it since I pulled the dang thing. It's a Grail card. And that's exactly what he said. He said, this is one of my holy grails. He goes, this isn't about value going up, investment, blah, blah, blah. He goes, this is literally a Grail card for me. And I was just like, all right, it's got a good home. So I was happy with the deal. I was happy. I was happy to move it. I was happy to put it in the right person's hands, and was happy to get what I got out of it. I literally have had that card since November, and subbed it, got it corrected in January or February, and so it's literally been on my table since February in the PSA 10 case. Yeah, I'm gonna miss it. Definitely will. Definitely gonna miss having it on the table. I mean, it was a $5,000 card. Those aren't on local card show tables very often, unless you're talking, well, let's just put it this way. Low numbered cards in that value aren't on people's tables all that often. You run into a lot of cards, somebody could have one of the Mike Trout rookie parallels, the update, PSA 10, and yeah, that could be several $1,000 card, but that's, one of 500 or one of several hundred. When you have a card that's numbered at a 10 that's in that price range, it's kind of, all right, I'm never going to see that on anybody else's table. So it, like I said, it was fun. It was definitely a fun trip. It was a fun ride having that. The adventure that card went through of going to PSA, being graded, being incorrectly slabbed as 2019, coming home, talking to PSA about it, getting it overnighted back to them, and then the almost 30 days to get it back. Like I said, it was a fun trip, and the fun thing is I keep in touch with the guy at PSA that helped me, and I actually just talked to him a little bit today because I was talking about booklet cards and if they have a way to slab trifolds and whatnot, because I have that Herbert vault, and so I talked to him a little, caught up a little bit with him today, and it's fun, the amount of interactions you can have with people over a card like a gold Kaboom Russell Wilson, like a Justin Herbert vault, like a a different type of monster, whatever it may be. The conversations that can start are always fun. So now begins the journey to landing the next Grail card, the next massive attention getter for my display case at card shows. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna go buku crazy ripping stuff, because right now I'm invested in break night. I would rather now rip for other people and hit people monsters. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I had some conversations with people about that. Real moment. I had some conversations with some people over the weekend at the card show, and a few people asked me, because of the hot hand, because they look at my case, they look at my display case, and they see monster after monster. They see $500 card after $500 card after $500 card, and we're talking 500 and up. Several cards, several $1,000s in my display case. This is all stuff I pulled. And I'm not trying to rub people's noses in it at all, and I'm not trying to brag about it or anything. I literally was on a freaking heater for the last year, and can't believe what a year plus. Can't believe what I pulled. I still look back to this day. I look back at the stuff that I pulled, the pictures, and I'm just in awe of it. And so I had a number of people who, I was talking to about getting back into break night and doing group breaks, and my comment was, pulling cards like this for other people brings a massive amount of attention to my company. Pulling them for myself, people kind of got tired and they kind of got burnt out over seeing what I was pulling for myself all the time. And it got to a point that it was like, no, you hit another one. Yay. Well, now when I'm pulling them for other people, the exposure, because of hitting William a big card, hitting Don a big card, hitting Dave a big card, Hitting Matthew a big card, hitting Jordan a big card, hitting these big cards for other people and putting them in their hands, and these other tweets that are going out about it. And hey, thanks Sports Stuff Up, thanks Sport, drawing more attention to the website. The amount of traffic that I've seen on the website, the amount of traffic on my social media handles and stuff has gone up substantially over the last month. And so, yeah, hitting a big card out of a $500 box, out of a $1,000 box, hitting a card that's 2 to 3 times that value for myself, yeah, that's fantastic. Makes the bottom line look really good. But when it boils down to it, what did that really accomplish? Because in order to get some of those cards, I'm having to, they're not all one and dones. Yes, I've had a few one and dones. I have, but other ones, 4 or 5 boxes into it, and I hit the monster, and then I'm definitely done. But if I'm ripping 2 boxes, and I hit David that monster, I hit Jordan that monster, I hit Don that monster, I hit William that monster, and I keep hitting these, if I'm doing 2 and 3 box breaks and I'm hitting those monsters for other people, and then I'm putting those cards in their hands, the advertising exposure for that alone is priceless. So the realness of that is, we've had this discussion. I've had this discussion time and time again. I'm not breaking to get rich. I'm not breaking to, I'm really not breaking to pay my mortgage even. I'm breaking as a form of advertisement, mostly for the company. Some breaks, I have a good amount of profit built into it so that I can take the next break that I had to pay hefty on the price to offset. I'll use the profit in this to offset, so I'm doing this one under, so I can actually afford to lose money on it, so it ends up almost being a wash between the 2 breaks, and that doesn't bother me. I'm a numbers guy. I'm very anal about bookwork and keeping my numbers true and balancing everything, and if I can shift money from this to this so that it turns out like this, and maybe on a break I profited $25, but this one over here I profited $150, but this one over here I lost $100, balanced it. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, because what's, the balance between the two is, making sure that I'm not sinking it. But I try not to do breaks at a loss, because that's dangerous territory. Because if I don't fill the break and I have to use house spots, then I'm losing money, and that's dangerous. That's very dangerous to do. So I'm trying to not do that. Thankfully, we've had a fair amount of success the last few weeks in selling out breaks, which we need to keep that up. We need to keep that momentum going. That's huge to be able to fill up breaks, especially for a small company like my company, like myself, to be able to do. But as I continue to do it, it gets more people out there. It's just like how I was breaking last time. Started off small, and slowly towards the end there, we were filling breaks pretty easily. We were doing case breaks back then, and honestly, if I was making $50 on a case, I was happy. I was ecstatic. Making $50 profit on a full case break. Now, if I told somebody that who's breaking today and didn't break in the 2016, 2017 market, or even 2018 market, and I told them that making $50 profit on a case break back then was good, they would think I was insane. That is pure craziness based on today's market. Now, granted, you have a lot of breakers that are even buying products secondary market, and they're doing 2-3 box breaks, and they're pumping $300-400 profit into them. I see some of these guys doing retail breaks, and they're pumping $300-400 profit into that or more. Some of these guys I've seen that are ripping Prism basketball breaks, and they're buying the product on the retail shelf, so they're paying the $20 a blaster, the $50 for a mega, the $10 or $12 for a hanger, $15 for a hanger, And then they're basing the price of the brake on secondary market prices. I literally watched a guy on social media, on Twitter, over the last couple weeks, select football, and he bought the product himself off the shelf. He literally, it was like a 10-box brake, and he literally profited like $900 on like a 5 or 6 box brake. And I'm just like, and it filled. It literally filled. And I watch some of these guys do this daily. And I'm just like, oh my Lord. they are, and I'm not saying they're scamming anybody. It's just blows my mind that retail product brakes are filling to that level, to that price, that quick. And I'm just like, oh my Lord, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And then I'm doing hobby box brakes below 30, 40, 50% lower than what some of the, most of the big breakers are at. And some of these guys are just like, oh, you don't know you. You don't know the guy that was just breaking retail either, and you just made him $900. It blows me away sometimes. It really does. The braking game is very fickle, and the customers are seeing some of these people just toss money around. It's one thing, if you have a trusted breaker and the pricing's good and whatnot, but man, I see some of these people just jump into some of these overly inflated brakes, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Why would you buy the chargers in a 5 blaster 10 hanger box select brake for $300 or $200? Why would you buy the chargers in that brake at that price for less than $400 worth of product? And I just blows me away. I try not to break retail. I really do. I've had a few people come to shows and they want to sell me blasters and megas and hangers and stuff, and I'm quite clear with them. They know I break, and I'm like, I don't break that stuff. If I'm buying that stuff, I'm buying it to rip it myself. I picked up 2 mega boxes of Mosaic basketball this past weekend at the show, and 2 blasters of Prism football. I ripped them. I did. I don't want to rip retail for our brakes. I have avenues to buy hobby product at worst case reasonable prices, and then here and there I get a little bit of hobby allocation, and I can use that to offset some costs and drop some prices down on some brakes, and I do that. That's what I try to do. If I ever break retail, it's going to be involved in a mixer or an add-on. Maybe we'll put a bounty and, hey, I'll add this mega box, or hey, I'll add this popular blaster onto it as a bounty. But I really don't want to get into setting up a 10-box blaster brake, a 5-box mega brake, a 40-box hanger brake. That's not what I want to do. That's to me, that's not fun. I've ripped enough retail throughout my life to know that I can only tolerate ripping so much retail, because at some point you're just hitting the same thing over and over and over and over, and it gets so monotonous, and that's not what braking is to me. I don't like monotony when it comes to braking. I like the potential of the unknown, and to me, that's not retail. Retail is very monotonous. It's very repetitive. It's very cut and dry. This is the max you're going to get. Yeah, sure, there's case hits in retail now too, and retail has kind of changed a little bit over the last few years, but still, in my mind, and just from what I've opened over the last 6 months, even the little bit of retail I've found, if I get multiple of something, I literally hit the same damn thing over and over again. It doesn't change. Sure, I could hit a zebra in select. Ooh, one time. Well, 2 times actually. But it's still not the same as ripping hobby boxes with the potential of hitting an XRC, with the potential of hitting an Aaron Rodgers patch auto, hitting a Jordan Love RPA out of 5, or Jalen Hurts RPA out of 5. The monster potential, the unknown potential in the hobby, just that's what draws me. More often than not, I'm ripping retail just to rip something and feed a fix, I guess would probably be the best way to call it. David had a comment. It was weird seeing it with a Steelers fan, to be honest. Dave, I must have missed when that came through. I don't know what that had to do with it. Seeing what with a Steelers fan? Were you talking about? Were you talking about Trey Lance stuff? Did I talk about Trey Lance? Never mind. I know what you're talking about. The Wilson Kaboom. I got you, bud. I got you. Yes. But that's the thing, though. Like, it wasn't a PC card for me. So it was inventory. And inventory, if I was just a PC guy, yeah, it would drive me crazy having Lamar Jacksons and Joe Burrows and Baker Mayfields and Myles Garrett's and Nick Chubb's and Marquise Brown's. It would drive me crazy if I was just a collector that, didn't own a business. Yeah, I would. I would have to move that stuff. Somebody's got to take this up. Somebody's got to take this up. Somebody's got to take this off my hands. But with separating, in my mind, my PC and my inventory, I'm able to balance that for myself. And so, to me, I was proud as shit owning that Russell Wilson as a business owner. That never would have ever touched my PC box. Ever. Let's not confuse the two. And nothing against Russell Wilson, nothing against the Seahawks, nothing against Seahawk fans. That's sacrilege. That does not go in my PC box. My PC box is very defined. Very defined. So, that being said, inventory is inventory, PC is PC, and I'm good with my balance that I have. So, obviously I still have, I have tons of Joe Burrow stuff. I have several autos. I have a lot of silvers, a lot of higher end rookies of Joe Burrow, along with other, obviously, rookies. I have an entire 3,000 count box literally right here within arm's reach of me, full of the top rookies from the 2020 draft class. I probably have 1,000 plus cards in there, and most of them are just rookies and inserts. They're not even including the autos, and that thing's jam packed. It's crazy. I was actually just putting a few cards away in it today because I had them stacked over here. I can't believe what I have in that box. It's unreal. One of these days, maybe one of these episodes, I'll pull out the box and we'll kind of take a hobby break and go through it, and you guys can see a little bit of what I have in store for this football season, in store for PSA when PSA opens their doors back up. And then maybe one day, we'll dive into my black and gold box. We'll dive into my North Dakota State box. We'll dive into my Mariners box. Yeah. We can do that later on. But it's not going to be for a while, though. Not going to be for a while. Unless, we've got literally nothing to talk about in sports. Speaking of, we have sports news. we have some sports news in the NFL. And I'm kind of excited to actually have something other than just, looking at how the draft wrapped up. Or just talking about Aaron Rodgers and the drama going on. Which, by the way, if anybody saw the Kenny Mayne last interview on ESPN, I advise going and watching it. It was excellent. He had a lot of athletes on there, and you can tell just how much he means to a lot of these people. He wasn't just a analyst. He wasn't just an interviewer. He wasn't just a talking head. A lot of people really enjoyed working with Kenny Mayne throughout his years at ESPN, and it showed. I'm going to go back and watch the episode again, probably tonight after I'm wrap up here. But it's guys like that make a positive impact on some of these athletes. And that's kind of one of those things that I strive to be able to do at some point in my career. I'm not saying that I want to be the next Kenny Mayne or the next Stuart Scott or the next Chris Berman or anything like that. I want to be the first me, but I also want to prove to athletes or whoever the case may be that I'm not just some talking head out there bashing, making up stories, thriving off of drama and stuff like that. That's not my goal. My goal is to be a place where people can, come and be themselves and kind of bro down or just kind of kick back and have some fun, have some laughs on the show, and just enjoy life. Very cool. Kellenick leadoff single tonight for the Mariners. I hope Kellenick rebounds. He's kind of had a rocky start. Granted, since he got called up, the Mariners have been absolute freaking dumpster fire. And Mariners are. Yeah, the Mariners could literally have Mike Trout, Ohtani, Kershaw, Mookie, Verlander, Bogarts, Stanton, and then still suck. Because that's it seems like it doesn't matter who the Mariners put on their team, they can't put it together. They can't get it together. They can't have consistency. And that stems from the top. And it's frustrating as a Mariners fan. It really is. And I'm not going to get into the frustrations of being a Mariners fan, because if you're a Mariners fan, you already know the frustrations of being a Mariners fan, because it's frustrating being a Mariners fan. But, hey, we have a bright future. I keep hearing that. My buddy Dean, who a lot of you guys know, is a diehard Mariners fan, first of all. And he's probably one of the most optimistic Mariners fans out there. He's the guy who looks at all the prospects and, we're in the rebuilding process. This is what has been going on. And so he's been telling me this for, 10 years. Rebuilding. In 3 more years, we're going to be great. In 3 more years, we're going to be great. In 3 more years, we're going to be great. And he continues to say this. And so it's like, this was not supposed to be the Mariners' year. Next year is what a lot of people were eyeing up. But, literally, they called up half the guys that everybody's been excited about, and they get no hit. And then they get steamrolled, 16-1 or whatever it was, or 14-1 just recently. So it's like, yeah, okay, we still got Julio Rodriguez to call up, but Julio Rodriguez isn't going to change everything. One guy isn't going to change an entire team getting no hit. He stopped the no-hitter from happening, so it was 1 hit and we still got shut out. So that's been one of my frustrations as being a Mariners fan. Great farm system. Really bad pro system. Oh, Cubs had a bright future for 100 years. That they did, Josh. That they did. And I fully believe that that's the way the Mariners are going to be. The Mariners are always going to be the, we'll get them next year. We've got the talent in the farm system. We've got the talent coming up. I could literally just sit here and have a moment of silence for the next 5 minutes, thinking of all the times that I've heard that about the Mariners. We've got a great farm system. We've got so much talent in the pipeline. There's no way we're going to be losers in a couple of years. We're going to be pennant chasers in a couple of years. Can't even think the last time the Mariners sniffed the playoffs. Anyway, back over to the NFL, because we have some NFL news to talk about. If you have been hiding under a rock, Julio Jones is on the trade block. It came out that at the end of last season, he had requested a trade from the Falcons. Now, the Falcons have since hired a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator. They also had the number 4 overall pick and drafted Kyle Pitts, tight end, who is already dubbed the number 4 tight end in the NFL, which just blows me away that a rookie is being ranked ahead of guys who've actually proven that they're NFL quality. Neither here nor there. So now the question is where does Julio go? And when does Julio go? One of the biggest problems with trading Julio is his contract. Julio Jones is in 2021 is slated to make $23 million total. That includes a $15.3 million base salary, a $5 million signing bonus, and a $2.75 million option. So he's a $23 million cap hit to the Atlanta Falcons. And if they were to trade him today, he's a $40 million cap hit. 40. And a lot more zeros after that. So, by all logic, he will not be traded until after the June 1st deadline. The June 1st deadline knocks him down to being about it'll save the team about $20 million. Now, the downside to a June 1st trade for the other team is that they then have to pick up his $15 million contract. Then they have $11.5 million to pay him the next year, and then they have another $11.5 million to pay him in 23. For a wide receiver at 32 years old who's had nagging injuries every year, I don't know how many teams are going to be willing to give up a first-round draft pick and absorb a $15 million contract. That's rough. Now, you do have some teams with enough cap space to do it. Unfortunately, for some of the games that have been played in the offseason with voidable years and ghost money and all this kind of stuff, because Julio's contract is already set in stone and he's going into his 3rd year, restructuring is going to be tough. And I don't know if he would be willing to restructure and potentially lose his $36 million over the next 3 years. We'll see. He may be willing to restructure. I don't know. But either way, the team is going to have to be able to absorb that. And I don't think that any team, because in order to make the trade, because we're after a certain point in the new league year, I don't think they can be over the cap limit at that point. So they would have to free up the cap space before even trading for him, which could be tough to do. So the amount of teams that would be possible to pull that off just got drastically smaller. There's only like 6 teams in the NFL with enough cap space to even take on that salary right now. So the downside is a very tough contract to take on. And then the fact that Atlanta wants a first round draft pick for him. Okay. Wide receiver on the wrong side of 30 with nagging injuries. I get it. He's still a very good wide receiver. But then also the $15 million that you're going to have to make sure you clear up before trading for him, because you can't be over the cap at this point. That is penalty. Could be a struggle. I know the rumors have been flying that the Patriots are one destination he would like to go, and then also Tennessee is a destination he would like to go. Tennessee does make a lot of sense because they just let their other wide receiver, not A.J. Brown, but went to the Jets. Now I can't think of his name. But that would make sense because then that gives A.J. Brown the ability to not have to take on double team after double team after double team. The Patriots, he said he'd like to go play with Cam. Well, the downside is, may not be Cam's team. Julio gets traded to the Patriots. Cam gets benched. And now it's Mac Jones' show. Does Julio want to play with Mac Jones? If his intention is to go there and play with Cam, I'm assuming he would be lobbying for Cam to be the quarterback all year. And we don't even know if Cam's going to start the season. It could be the Mac Jones show by day one. Who knows? There's not enough happening, not enough news for us to know for sure. Corey Davis, thank you very much. There's not enough news for us to even put that pencil to paper right now. Josh just said KC would be unstoppable with Julio. Would they be, or would they struggle because that would be a piece they would have to try to fit in? I don't know if they... To me, that takes away too many targets from Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. And Hardman's already establishing himself. Then you're upsetting balance. You already had Le'Veon Bell that tried to come in and he's a dominant player when given the opportunity, when healthy. And they couldn't even find a role for him. And Le'Veon Bell is still at a good age for a running back. He was a 2013 draft pick. So, I mean, we're talking 8 years into his career, 9 years into his career going on now. But now you're talking about disrupting the chemistry that KC has, and now you're talking about taking mass target share away from a Tyreek Hill, a Travis Kelce, and even Mecole Hardman. I don't know if that balance would work. And then you're also not giving Julio enough targets to eat. So going to KC, I don't think would be a good idea. I just don't think that there's enough targets to make that work. I mean, now if they went to a complete passing offense with no run game whatsoever, and Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball 45 times a game for 18 weeks, or 17 games, yeah, but then you're going to have a quarterback whose arm is burnt out by week 15. Correct, and I get it. Julio wants to win. Yes. He's been on the Falcons his entire career. Was he an 09 or a 2010 draft class? But he's been with them, and yeah, he'd been to the Super Bowl. And there's been a fair amount of down years in And it's not necessarily about Julio. Um, I don't necessarily know if it's Julio that the issue would be for amount of targets. I just think that it's going to take away and disrupt the current chemistry that a team like Kansas City currently has going on with their primary target setup. If Julio came in at the twilight of his career where he was, trying to give it the old Chad Johnson or the old Terrell Owens, and they were okay with 30, 40 targets a year and, um, 3 catch games, 3 target games, that type of stuff. Yeah, yeah, a Larry Fitzgerald type of thing. And I can't even say that because even Larry just put up 100 catches 2 years ago. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that balance would work with Julio there. I think it would just be too much for the rest of the offense to have to give up. Yeah, and see that would be one that he could potentially. The problem is Seattle doesn't have the room for it. Seattle would have to restructure several salaries in order to even fit him, but then they don't have the first round draft pick to give up. Seattle doesn't have a first round draft pick in 22. And so they don't have a way to give up a draft pick. They'd have to trade a 23, and if Atlanta would be willing to trade for a 23 versus a 22. I don't know if they'd be willing to wait that long, but Seattle would have to massively restructure several contracts to fit him in the cap to start with, and then worry about restructuring him after that. But man, I don't know. Seattle, I don't have Seattle on the radar whatsoever for him to go to. I get the Tennessee move. I get the Patriots move. I could see maybe putting him on, like, I don't know who else he wants to go to, but I could see a team like Baltimore. That would suck. Oh, I would hate that. Because I have so much respect for Julio. But I could see a team like Baltimore, because Baltimore really does need a true number one wide receiver. I could see the Jets, maybe. Um, just to kind of help facilitate the transition with Zach Wilson, because that would help Julio could help Zach Wilson a lot. Um, I would almost say maybe even a Cincy or Miami type of move, but they just went big on a wide receiver in the draft. So, but maybe that could pair well because Julio worked very well with Calvin Ridley, and so maybe that could bode well for him as well. You could imagine Julio, Jamar Chase, or a Julio Devonta Smith pairing, or a Julio. Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are really endless when it boils down to it. Correct. The salary cap right now, because of this whole everybody exposing this voidable years thing, it's manipulatable if the players are willing to renegotiate, and that's been part of the problem. The problem is when you hit these voidable year contracts, you literally are telling a player, "Yeah, we're going to pay you this year. Screw you after that, though, because we literally can void you and call it good." But at some point, as a lot of people have pointed out, why a lot of these analysts have pointed out why some teams are not using these voidable year contracts is because the bill comes due. This is not something that they can run from. The bill comes due. You're going to have teams that are putting all these voidable year contracts together and all these back end heavy contracts, and they're going to be millions over the salary cap in a few years, even with the massive increase. So they're going to have to get creative next year even in order to potentially back end some more stuff and push it down the road, or trade and get out of some of it. It's this whole season, this whole off season's salary cap structure is going to get changed with the next CBA, guarantee, because players are come on, you have a guy whose contract is literally a 4-year contract all voidable years. Taysom Hill's contract is 100% voidable. Show me the last player in NFL history that had a 100% voidable contract at 0 cap hit. Nobody. Not a multi-year contract. 1 year, sure. But not a 4-year fully voidable contract. That's insane. That is nuts. That's going to be done after this year. Next CBA, nope, not happening. They're not going to allow that crap because Taysom Hill gets cut tomorrow, and they owe him nothing, and he's a zero salary cap hit. NFLPA is going to be out for blood. But that's why certain teams haven't been using it, because they don't want that. They don't want to expose that. They don't want to potentially screw a player over, because that's exactly what's going to happen. These voidable years are going to screw people over big time. Big time. It's a business. That's what the NFL is. It's what it's become. Everybody knows it. And you're going to see a lot of players that get hurt because of that voidable years thing. If you guys, I mentioned this a little bit ago with the Kenny Mayne interview last night. If you guys didn't catch it, go watch it. ESPN. Kenny Mayne left ESPN. No, he hasn't said anything about where he's going yet or what he's going to do, but he has a great following of athletes, of fans, of spectators, we'll call it. And so he had a lot of people on last night, one of which was Aaron Rodgers, and everybody's talking about the controversy that's going on with Green Bay. And if you didn't watch that, the show last night, I think it might be on ESPN Plus, but I think you can go watch it on YouTube. And I would say I definitely recommend watching it. And the Aaron Rodgers clip at the end, the amount of respect between those two is fantastic. Now, one thing that a lot of people are picking apart is when they were talking about the Green Bay Packers. Aaron said flat out that he does not have an issue with Jordan Love. In fact, they get along. He doesn't have any. He loves his team. He loves the coaching staff. But the thing that's getting picked apart is that he didn't say anything about management. And a lot of these rumors that are floating around that he doesn't like Gutekunst and wants a new GM, and that he apparently wasn't a fan of Gutekunst when they went to hire him to begin with. So there really is no light shed on the whole Aaron Rodgers topic right now. There really isn't. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Now, one thing that is speculative right now is, again, same as with the Julio Jones trade talk. Nothing's going to happen with Julio Jones until June 1st. Nothing. He will not get traded pre-June 1st. It's too big of a cap hit. One thing that potentially will happen is that we'll see Aaron Rodgers get moved after June 1st, because the Aaron Rodgers cap hit goes down by $20 million as well, post-June 1st. So Green Bay absorbing that massive cap hit is not going to happen today. That's why it didn't happen at the draft. That's why it hasn't happened so far. Post-June 1st, if he's going to go anywhere, it'll be in that first 2-week period after June 1st. If he's not traded by mid-June, he's going to be either retiring or he's going to be a Green Bay Packer next year. That's everything I've been reading, everything that I've looked at where common sense is used and facts are used points to that. Now, yes, there could be a Hail Mary thrown up last 2 weeks of the season. Maybe a quarterback goes down in training camp, or maybe a quarterback goes down in preseason, or something happens. Something always happens. Mariota could get traded. Who knows? But after June 15th, so between June 1st and June 15th is the sweet spot window for the Rodgers trade. I'm telling you that right now. The odds of him being traded any day after that go down a little bit every single day. The chance of him getting traded goes down a little every single day after June 15th. I believe he's going to get traded. June 1st, June 2nd, you're going to hear an announcement. June 3rd, maybe. They can't do it now because of the tampering. Because, well, they can't announce it right now because of all the tampering rules and whatnot. You can't swoon Aaron Rodgers if you're another team. He's under contract. That's tampering. And so, teams reaching out, yes, Green Bay Packers are going to field calls about it. Sure. But they're not going to talk open trade talks until June 1st. Then come the offers, signed, sealed, and delivered. Aaron Rodgers is a Denver Bronco. Aaron Rodgers is a Houston Texan. A lot of people are like, oh, San Francisco 49ers are going to get him. Yeah, I'm sorry, they're not. They just drafted Trey Lance. They're not going to trade for Aaron Rodgers at this point. Unless they trade Trey Lance, which they literally traded up in the draft to get Trey Lance and gave up like 5 picks for him. They're not going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. They're just that would just be stupid at this point. But I tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers ends up a Denver Bronco and we have an AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers. If I'm Derek Carr, I mean, come on. That being the AFC West would be ridiculous. That's kind of what the AFC North is going to look like in 5 years, when you have Burrow fully established and Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield all in the same division. And then who knows what the Steelers are going to do. Maybe it's Mason Rudolph. Maybe it's Dwayne Haskins. Who knows? It could be Ben Roethlisberger still in 5 years. I don't know. Maybe he decides to play longer. But that would be like the AFC North in a few years. I mean, you have an MVP, Rookie of the Year. You have 2 up-and-comings that are already highly touted. Well, and I mean, well, technically they're all 3 up-and-comings because all 3 of them were 2018 or later. So, I mean, they're all 3 up-and-comings, but they're all 3 highly touted. That's going to be crazy. AFC North football is going to go insane. Especially once the Steelers end up making their move for the future. And who knows what's going to happen there. I mean, like I said, the Steelers haven't had a top 15 draft pick since Ben Roethlisberger in 2004. And I mean, selected. Not selected, but actually had that pick. So that was their draft spot since 2004. They've traded up, but they've never had a top 15 pick outright since Roethlisberger. So, not sure that I see them having another one anytime soon. I don't. What's up, Taylor? All right, so one of the other things we were going to talk about tonight was mini camps. So mini camps officially started, so we're starting to see some players show up and some players don't show up. Just sticking with the AFC North. Saw some videos today that even Ben Roethlisberger was in was in mini camp today, and he was throwing some bombs. They had all their quarterbacks on site today. And then other teams like the Green Bay Packers did not have Aaron Rodgers, did not have any of their wide receivers that showed up today. And so we're seeing some teams have most of their players show up, and other teams have very few of their players show up outside of the rookies. Because the rookies, the general consensus of the rookie is we need to be in there. We've got to get in there. We got to get established. We got to show these coaches and our teammates that we're committed. And you have a lot of, 5+ year veterans that are kind of like, I don't need to be there. I'm good. It's kind of culture of the locker room, but also belief by the individual player. Like I said, some teams are in it, some teams aren't. Can't hold anybody accountable for it, or can't hold it against anybody, I should say. They're voluntary. It is what it is right now. The CBA fought to make it voluntary. And the CBA is continuing to fight to make sure that people can't be punished for not coming to a voluntary minicamp. And I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me one bit. Don't show up if you don't want to. If you lose your spot to a young guy that showed up, don't be mad. Oh, let's see. Taylor down in Salt Lake City, Utah, on his trip around the country with his family. Yeah, there you go. David's not too far from Salt Lake City, so you might as well just head on down. Go see the Grand Canyon while you're at it. One of the other things we were going to talk about tonight, sports-wise, which, well, now the game's over, and a complete shellacking by the Brooklyn Nets, who now are up 2-0 over the Boston Celtics. The Nets laid a beating tonight, 130-108 on the Celtics. It was like 71-47 at halftime. I saw. I was like, holy crap, that's crazy. We also have LA and Phoenix just started a few minutes ago. According to this, it says they're tied up 2-2. I do kind of want to revisit the Brooklyn-Boston game. I want to take a look at the stat sheets here. So it looks like Tatum only played part of the game. Maybe he got hurt tonight. That's bad. Only put up 9 points, which would kind of make sense then why it was such a low-scoring game. Kevin Durant for the Nets put up 26, Joe Harris 25, James Harden 20, Kyrie put up 15. So typical game from the trifecta there. So, and like I said, we're gonna see the Phoenix Lakers game tonight. Phoenix with a 1-game lead over the Lakers. And then later tonight, starting at, well, actually not later tonight, starting in, looks like about 15 minutes, we're going to have game 2 of Dallas and the LA Clippers. Dallas has a 1-0 lead on the Clips. Elsewhere, tomorrow night, we have, during break night, so I'm going to probably have that on during break night, is going to be Washington and Philadelphia. Philadelphia's up 1-0. We also have Atlanta and New York. Atlanta's up 1-0. And then Memphis, Utah, Memphis up 1-0 as well. So we're just getting started in the NBA playoffs. Lots of games to be happening here in the next couple weeks. So we're going to be seeing a lot of big NBA movement, especially in the hobby, because when you have games that ended like the Atlanta and New York game the other night, Trey's value went up. You had Memphis where Ja hit a game winner and Ja's value went up. And so we're seeing some of this stuff where, playoff basketball can make or break values on quite a few sports cards. So we're going to be seeing more and more of that coming over the next few weeks. So watch the volatility. Be careful if you're an eBay seller with returns, because team could be on, game 6, and, a Ja Morant could, hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer to tie, to win the game, to tie the series 3-3, and then they get shellacked the next game and get eliminated. And after Game 6, Ja Morant value spikes, and then they get bumped out of the playoffs, and Ja Morant value drops. So it's that, and I'm just using Ja as an example. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but be very careful if you're an eBay seller with selling based on waves of value. Because as we've seen in the recent 12 to 16 months, eBay will not back you. If value drops, they will not back you. You, as the seller, are going to get screwed. So just be careful with that. Heading to Moab tomorrow morning. See the Grand Canyon next week. Why did KD come off the bench in Game 1? I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I'm not quite sure why he came off the bench. Philly, Washington, Game 1 was fire. That is true. You guys taking the scenic route for sure. Going to as many national parks as you can. That is awesome. Taylor, are you guys going to go to, when you come back, are you going to go to Glacier National Park in Montana? Highly recommend it as a stop. Beautiful area to go to. 4 hours from the Grand Canyon. Not bad. Not bad. Let's see. Baseball. Dave's been giving us updates. Let's hop over to MLB. Oh, I hate when it does that. MLB.com. Mariners up 2-1 on the A's. Bottom of the second. Awesome. All right, well, it's about 7:18. Let's get to our box rip tonight, guys. I'm going to get rid of these screens so they're not in my way. I don't have my break camera out, so just give me a moment here to get my cords unmangled. Because I kind of put everything away after break night. All right. So tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to do a preview rip of one of tomorrow's products, the Fantasy Sports Break Basketball Edition Series 4. Tomorrow night we're doing a 3-box break of this, and I wanted to do a preview because we haven't ripped one of these on the show in 5 months. I think the last time we did one was January, I think, if I remember correctly. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a preview in case you're new to Fantasy Sports Breaks, so you can take a look at it. It is a repack product, and in my opinion, Fantasy Sports Breaks is one of the better repack products out there, because not only do you get 2 slabbed or one-touched cards, you also get 2 packs of cards in the box as well. So what we're opening tomorrow night is a 3-box break. So we're going to have 6 single cards and 6 packs to rip as well. So remember, this is basketball. So we have Michael Jordan in this. We have LeBron James in this. We have Zion. We have Ja Morant, Luka, Trae Young. There's a lot that can come out of this product. It is, I've seen some bangers come out of this. So we are going to break a 3-boxer of this tomorrow night. It comes 6 boxes in a case. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the other 2 boxes in my case. If I'm going to do a break with it the next week, I may do that. or just sell the other 2 boxes. I don't know yet. We'll see. But anyway, we're going to rip this box we have in front of us tonight and give a couple cards away out of it. I don't know if I'm going to give away one of the singles that comes out of it or give away something out of the packs. I don't know yet. We'll see. So this is 2021 Fantasy Sports Breaks Basketball Series 4 here on Sports Stuff Hub Live, episode 36. So get your spots in tomorrow's breaks. We have a massive break night lined up for tomorrow night. sportstuffhub.com/breaks. We have 4 breaks lined up for tomorrow night. And they are going to be bangers. Thank you very much, David. So every box comes like this. So one of our packs, as you see here, is going to be Illusions Basketball. And the other pack they gave us is Old School Hoops. Oh boy, friggin' hoops. Yep, old school MJ Hunt. Alright, so possibly, we'll see. So we do get a pack of hoops, which we will open in a minute. And Illusions, 2019-20. And our first card is a 2007-2008 Stadium Club first day issue. Larry Bird, BGS 9. Numbered out of 1999. 14/10 of 1999. First day issue, Larry Bird Stadium Club. Card number 2. If you guys can already see it, a 2018 Panini National Convention Gold VIP Pack, Luka Doncic Rookie. BGS 9.5. That's a pretty cool card. I have one of these at PSA right now, actually. But that's actually a really cool card. It's one of the first Luka cards that PSA made. It's a prism type of card, chromium. So pretty solid card. Definitely not hating that being in the box. Alright, so we are going to open our 2 packs now. Old School Hoops. Richard Anderson, Dale Ellis, Randy Whitman, Mark Price, Sam Vincent, Byron Scott, James Worthy, Ken Norman, Reggie Williams, Blair Rasmussen, Jim Farmer, Ricky Pierce, Larry Nance, John Sunvold, and Steve Coulter. Not anything big in our hoops. So moving on to 1920 Illusions. This doesn't say if it's which product it's out of. So here is Illusions. If you haven't seen it, here's the base cards. Giannis, Ricky Rubio. We get an Anthony Davis season highlights game winner at 2020 All-Star Game. AD. Luka. Kendrick Nunn rookie. And then our last is a Kobe White rookie. So overall, not a bad pack of illusions. No hit in it, obviously. So our big 2 cards out of our repack, the Larry Bird out of 1999 and the Luka National Gold VIP pack rookie BGS 9.5. That is one box of Fantasy Sports Break basketball. So, the one thing that I tell people with repacks, if you buy a repack product and you're ripping for yourself, the odds of you hitting bigger value than what the box cost is low. And I mean very low. Lower than buying a hobby box, quite literally. But the reason that these products do well is because they're great for group breaks. Because that Luka is probably a $200 to $300 card, my guess, on average. I'd have to look it up, I don't know. If you paid $30, $40 for a spot, you just scored big if you had the Dallas Mavericks. And again, like I said, if you bought the box outright, you just got your ass handed to you. Even though a big Luka was in it. And I'm going to look that up real quick while we're on here, just to kind of give you guys an idea. But like I said, I don't want that to deter you from breaking the product. Just don't go overboard buying single boxes for yourself thinking you're going to hit a $40,000 card out of it. Repack products rarely have that stuff. So breaking it is the better alternative. Alright, so that's 2018. Yep, 2018 National VIP Luka Doncic BGS 9.5. It's not the silver. Actually, I want to see if this is the same exact one. That'd be funny if this was the same exact one that I just pulled. Oh, don't do that. That's not what I wanted. It's funny. I go through these sometimes and I look for where the card was purchased. But I might have just found a card. Okay, so the funny thing is, I just found the serial number on this is 128-26800. I just found its counterpart that was graded seconds after or before this. I just found 128-26799 on eBay that sold. Correct. They weren't crazy before the boom. That is accurate. And that's not what I was getting at with it. I mean, most of these repack products that are coming out now were bought during the boom. Correct. Yes, and that was the perfect time to buy repack product, was right as the boom was hitting, because all those were bought. The singles were bought during the boom, or before the boom, excuse me. And so but that's the thing now. All these repack products now were bought during the boom, so prices are up on them and whatnot. But like I said, even this card being a $300 card, is great for the individual spot, not so much for the person who's buying a single box for themselves. So I'm gonna check this National VIP Luka Doncic BGS 9.5. So I couldn't. There was none. The only sales were best offers accepted on eBay. So I'm gonna check 130 point real quick. Yeah, the highs can be super high. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's like I said, it's about a $200 card. Yep. Yeah, it's about a $200 card. So again, I don't let it discourage you from joining group breaks of it, because again, the potential of scoring something substantially more than what your spot cost is big. Just don't go crazy buying single boxes for yourself thinking you're going to score big, because it's tough on a repack product to hit value worthy of the repack product, unless we run into a situation like what Josh was just saying, where stuff was bought pre-boom, and yeah. So, okay, so I'm gonna give something away. I'm curious though. Before we do that, I kind of want to see what this Larry Bird is. I don't recall that 2007 Stadium Club Larry Bird. Correct. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is the packs. I've seen some that had ridiculous high-end packs. I mean, well, a lot of you guys saw the baseball one that I opened, I think, at the end of last year. One of my earlier shows, I did a preview of the baseball's fantasy sports breaks, and they literally put a National Treasures box in the repack. So I mean, that's huge. That's massive. I don't know if they would do that for basketball or football though. That would be it's because National Treasures baseball, they it was, I think it was 2019, and they probably picked it up for $500 or less. All right, so the Larry Bird. Okay, so 2007, 2008. Yeah, I mean it's so the Larry Bird is probably it's about a $5 card raw. Now you get the LeBron in that. Damn. The LeBron's huge. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've seen a Michael Jordan come out of the basketball repack as well. It's pretty, like I said, it's pretty impressive. But right now, with the way the repacks are, with having to buy the product, the price goes up on the repacks, and making if you're ripping yourself, making money back is kind of tough. Now, I have seen a few as well where, like Patrick Mahomes, Prism Silver Rookie in some of them as well. That's pretty badass. I'm looking forward to when the football one comes out. All right, so tonight I'm going to give away the Larry Bird. Give that away tonight. Don't really have a big variety of cards to give away, so I'm going to then give away the entire pack of Illusions. So I'm going to give away everything that was in the Illusions pack is going to go to winner number 2. So that's going to be our 2 winners tonight, number 1 and number 2. Let me see if I can find my screen. There we go. Randadadum.org. All right. Can you guys still hear me? I want to make sure you guys can still hear me. Okay, good. Alright, so we're going to start with our dice roller, so we know how many times we're going to randomize the list. Roll dice. 12. We are going to randomize the list 12 times. Alright, if you want in to win the Larry Bird or the Illusions cards, just type me in the chat, just like David just did, and Taylor. David Miller. Taylor. Shane. Dave Fitch. Dave, nice to see you on, bud. I haven't seen you in a few weeks. Josh. Don. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh boy. So yeah, tomorrow night we'll be live at typical 4 o'clock Pacific. Make sure you get your spots in the breaks as soon as possible. We were coming up on the halfway point on the PYTs, I believe. We may not have been quite that far. But they were moving. The randoms were moving. Getting good progress. So definitely get in. Get your spots secured. I said this earlier on Twitter. I have a gut feeling Legacy is going to go nuclear tomorrow. I just have a feeling there's going to be a monster in Legacy. And I am going to put a bounty on Legacy. I will announce that tomorrow once I go live for the breaks. I will put a bounty on Legacy. I've already got it in mind. I am not going to tell you guys what it is yet, but there will be a bounty. And if we hit the bounty, I'm not going to say anything else. Not going to say what I'm going to add. There you go, David. You're going to get some good Mooney for that Mac Jones. That's a good card. But yes, tomorrow night is going to be... Yeah, tomorrow night's going to be good. I'm excited. And then next week, we are going to add Contenders Draft Picks football for breaking. I'm probably going to put together a memorabilia mixer of mini helmets and jerseys. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do like a 10 spotter with like 4, or if I'm going to do a hit draft 10 for 10 type of thing. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But I am going to do a memorabilia mixer as well. And then I might even add another Legacy break-in if I have enough product. And then I'm going to get the baseball. I'm going to get the baseball National Treasures is going to end up being our rewards break for the month, since Impeccable got pushed back to mid-June. And I don't have anything else that I can get at this point at a reasonable price anyways. Everything else is going to be $3,000+ to get. Like, I could get National Treasures football again, but it's, I mean, we're talking $100 per spot. And that's, to me, that's not rewards. So we're going to aim for like National Treasures in that $28 to $30 range. National Treasures baseball in that $28 to $30 range. I know, David. It was really tempting to do another Bowman, but with the with Legacy coming and Court Kings, and then Fantasy Sports breaks, I wanted to focus on those, and I'll probably end up doing another Bowman break next week, just because it's been so good to us. But I figured taking a week off ain't gonna hurt. Ain't gonna hurt. So that'll be a good bounce back for for Bowman next week. So, all right. Looks like that's all we're going to get for tonight on the drawing. So, good luck, everybody. We're going to randomize 12 times. Ready, and 1. There's our 6 participants. And, of course, I moved the screen instead of doing what I wanted to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12th and final time. Good luck, everybody. Number 12. Shane taking the 1 spot, winning the Larry Bird. Taylor in the deuce hole, taking the Illusions pack. Congratulations to our winners, the Larry Bird and the Illusions. Larry Legend. Congratulations, winners. Okay, so as I said, Legacy tomorrow, Court Kings tomorrow. We're breaking both. Get your spots, get your teams. We got random break of fantasy sports breaks as well. 3 boxer on fantasy sports break, 3 boxer on Legacy, 5 boxer on the mixer of football, which is 3 Onyx Vintage and 2 Legacy, and then a 2-box Court Kings PYT as well. So make sure you guys go get your spots, get your friends in here. Let's get everything sold. Let's get everything lined so that we can just fire it up and rip away. So we're not waiting an hour to get our first break down. Let's get those spots sold. I want to thank all you guys for joining me tonight. As always, it's a pleasure. I'm glad you guys can sit through this and listen to my dumb voice for an hour, hour and a half. Congratulations again to our winners for tonight, and I hope that everybody has a fantastic night and can get into the breaks for tomorrow night. If I don't see you guys tomorrow night on the break line, then I'll see you sometime throughout the week on social media. If not, I'll be here next week as well, and I'll be on break night every Wednesday. So hope you guys all take care and have a good night. Stay safe out there.